distinguished guest, and our first guest this afternoon, Mr. Darius Figuera.
Greetings, good day. I will speak about what I know, and my area is the drug trade. Now, in Trinidad and Tobago, presently, the demand for ganja way outstrips supply.
You sure that?
So what is happening to us today, as last year, is that demand is chasing supply, and those who control supply control the price and the market. And this has resulted in the ganja wars, where a half pound of ganja, you lose your life. And this is because of prohibition, because you ban it. Prohibition has failed. All of the years from the 1960s to now, and this is the second reality you must understand, in spite of prohibition, demand continues to escalate. Until today, we have the highest level of demand because over the years, prohibition has failed miserably. And today, especially among the digital generation, the digital generation makes it clear to you that ganja is now part of their health and wellness program. So as long as we continue with prohibition, the next generation that is supposed to take over the running of Trinidad and Tobago well into the 21st century, we will continue to criminalize that generation. So since prohibition has failed miserably, and since citizens of Trinidad and Tobago of all race and class groups use ganja, why then do you maintain prohibition? Because there is no cocaine wars, there is no molly wars, there is no K2 wars, no meth wars, no heroin wars, because the supply is abundant. And supply is chasing demand. And why is it today in Trinidad and Tobago that it is cheaper for you to buy a sprang hit than to get kush? Somebody then, organized crime, transnational organized crime, who is making all the money off the ganja market, is manipulating supply to raise the prices and to maximize the profits. And because supply is inadequate in regards to demand, you have people who are willing to kill to get the product to sell it. And that is what contributes singularly to the murder rate of Trinidad and Tobago. So if you want to address murder in Trinidad and Tobago and the continued bloodletting in Trinidad and Tobago, one of the first things you have to do is legalize it.
Don't like it, so legalize it.
If you want to lower the rate by which people are willing to wipe out a family to get a half pound of compress, legalize it. Let people grow it and smoke it. Because when we can grow it, we don't need to buy it. And nobody can play games with supply and jack up an ounce of kush like if it raised with gold in the fiber. So that is the reality. The fact of the matter is, prohibition is causing violence. Prohibition is staining the land red with blood. And the only way to end the prohibition and the bloodletting is to change the nature of the market, where demand and supply will balance. And the only way you can do that is to legalize it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That is the fundamental reality. Prohibition has failed and will continue to fail. And that is the fundamental reality we have to grasp today when we are making the case to end prohibition. Make it clear to the politicians that the land is being stained red because of prohibition. So all of those who continue to insist that ganja must continue to be banned, apparently they don't care about the murder. Because you're willing to have the land stained red with blood in order for you to tell me I mustn't smoke a spliff.
I like to smoke mine.
So in order for you to tell me how I must live my life, you're willing to sacrifice the youth of the nation. So that means you have a blood loss.
Oh, red.
So in order to stop me using spliff, you shedding blood. So why do you continue with prohibition? And what we understand over the years from the 1960s to now is that prohibition is social control. Look who does get charged for 3 grams of spliff. It's social control. Where's the easiest charge to put on poor people?
Parking tickets.
Poor people always doing that.
So check the origins of the people locked up on remand yard for a ganja charge and see if they have 2 other charges associated with it. Use of obscene language and resisting arrest.
If that black man do that for me,
And then you will understand the nature of the social control.
I don't want to talk no more.
So when you are afraid of the masses, you have to have instruments of social control, and ganja is one. So if you legalize it,
Tell them when they left your
then you have to get a new agent of social control.
I read man go to this.
So what we must understand,
Give him a chance to talk.
what we have to understand, is that this problem is not going away, it will get worse. Because demand is so high, people now are bringing in ganja from all around the Caribbean in order to make money. And it have new areas growing ganja to supply ganja. And as these flows start coming to Trinidad and Tobago to supply this market, the violence is going to get worse. So the only way you could change the market, change the dynamic, and make sure it have no profit in killing is to end the prohibition and to legalize it. Now, two more points and are gone. Bad legislation on the use of ganja is worse than no legislation. Many of them say that we can't legalize, we're going to decriminalize small amounts. Bad decriminalized legislation do not drop the violence. It has escalated the violence. Just look at what's going on in Belize. First point. Second point. Anytime people come and tell all you, medical marijuana, we're going with medical marijuana, and they still want to maintain a regime of prohibition, that is old talk. That is wash-eye. You could never develop the proper regime of medical marijuana and you still want to maintain a regime of prohibition. If we want to reap the full benefits of medical marijuana, legalize it. Thank you very much.